Allah has brought us to another Ramadan, another huge opportunity. The Prophet ﷺ, he told us that whoever fasts Ramadan, imanan wa ihtisaban, out of iman and expecting to be rewarded, all of his previous sins are forgiven. The Prophet ﷺ told us that whoever stands in prayer in the nights of Ramadan, imanan wa ihtisaban, all his previous sins are forgiven. The Prophet ﷺ told us, and it's in the Quran too, that in this month there is a night that's like 1,000 months. This is a huge opportunity, and we may never live to see it again. That's one way to begin Ramadan, and that's what many of us do. We focus on the fact that we have wasted 32 Ramadans of our life. I'm assuming that we're 33 years old. We focus on the fact that the past 32 Ramadans, they weren't up to standard. I didn't do as good as I should have. Maybe I blew it. And so let me not blow this opportunity again. Let me not blow the opportunity for the 33rd Ramadan. And so I make my way through this month full of worry and anxiety. I fall short here. I say, oh no, I'm going to blow the opportunity again. And the month finishes and I feel I haven't done a good enough job. I continue to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but in my heart there's a heaviness, there's a burden. I force myself to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but I feel that I'll never be good enough. As this Ramadan begins, let's look at it differently. Instead of focusing on the fact that it may never come again, let's focus on the fact that it has come again. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given me a 33rd Ramadan, for example, even though I didn't take full advantage of the past 32 Ramadans that I experienced in my life. Even though they weren't as good as I hoped they would be. Maybe even though I wasted some of them, maybe I blew some of those opportunities. Still, despite that, here I am for the 33rd time. Allah has given me another Ramadan. The Prophet ﷺ, he told us that in this month, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He chains the shayateen, He chains the devils, and He throws open the gates of paradise. It's as though He is speaking to me, despite the fact that the last 32 Ramadans weren't as good as I hoped they would be. Despite that fact, He is throwing open the doors of paradise for me, and He is saying, come to my mercy, come to my forgiveness. Isn't that amazing? He's doing it again for someone like me, someone who doesn't even deserve it. It's unbelievable, but I have to believe it. It's obligatory for me to believe it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He tells us in the Quran, إِنَّهُ لَا يَيْأَسُ مِنْ رَوْحِ اللَّهِ إِلَّا الْقَوْمُ الْكَافِرُونَ. Verily, the only people who despair of the mercy of Allah are the people who don't have iman. People who don't have iman in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who don't lovingly submit to Him and look to Him and accept everything that He has sent their way. It is obligatory on us to accept everything that Allah sends our way. And what has He sent our way? He has sent our way another month of mercy. So let's begin this Ramadan with hope and with expectation. With the expectation that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will have mercy on us. With the expectation that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will forgive us. Because you only have to do two things. You have to have iman and you need to fast. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he said, Man sama Ramadana. Whoever, man means whoever. The scholars of usul, they say, man min siyagil umum. It means whoever fasts Ramadan, imanan wa ihtisaban, out of iman. What is iman? Iman is, Ya Allah, I accept you. I accept your commands. We accept this from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We accept this obligation and this mercy from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَاحْتِسَابًا. And the Prophet said, whoever fasts Ramadan out of Iman and expecting to be rewarded. That means that as we are fasting, we have hope, we have expectation, and whoever does this, غُفِرَ لَهُ مَا تَقَدَّمَ مِنْ ذَنْبِهِ. All of his previous sins will be forgiven. We have to believe this. We have to accept this. And it should make us happy. It makes us forget our shortcomings and focus on Him. It makes us love Him. And when we do worship out of this spirit, the worship that we do, inshallah, in this month, it's not heavy anymore. It's not a burden anymore. Because it's not about how good or bad I am, but it's about the goodness, the mercy, the generosity of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that is coming my way in spite of how I am. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam taught us that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, أَنَا عِنْدَ ظَنِّ عَبْدِي بِي. I am as my slave believes me to be. So if we believe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be merciful and forgiving to us, that is how we will find Him. These are the neglected good deeds of this month. We hear a lot about lots of worship, lots of charity, and all of those are important things that inshallah all of us will do. But the neglected good deeds of this month that we don't hear much about are the good deeds of expecting the best of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and placing our hope and expectation of His mercy in Him. These are the neglected good deeds of this month, and these are huge good deeds. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you, and may He fill your worship of Him in this month with love of Him, with expectation of His mercy, eager anticipation. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bring relief and safety and prosperity to our brothers and sisters all over the world. Ameen. For those of you who are interested, I have a free spiritual development course that I'm launching this Ramadan so that you can make a change this Ramadan that lasts forever. Ramadan is an opportunity, but this opportunity is realized by expecting the best of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And inculcating this quality requires taking some small steps, and that's what I'll be teaching you in this course. It's called Sacred Steps, a path to the purification of the soul. You can find the link in the description below. The course is free. I hope you can join me.